Welcome to the Creative Brew, helping you keep your creative juices brewing. We're giving out chunks of insight, motivation, and practicality for your creative journey. My next partner is Elevate Coffee Trading, and if you appreciate specialty coffee, enjoy outdoor adventure, and love helping elevate the lives of children around the world, then you're going to love Elevate Coffee Trading. Their mission is to extract hope through love, coffee, and adventures. There's free shipping in the United States, and every bag of coffee helps sponsor health and education for children in coffee producing countries and in areas of need in the United States. You can use promo code Elevate21 on your next order, and you can follow their journey on social media at Elevate Coffee Trading. Or you can visit online at elevatecoffeetrading.com, and let's start extracting hope together. And this episode is brought to you by Baba Coffee, smuggling good vibes. Baba roasts their coffee beans each week and only offers the freshest coffee. They have espressos, lattes, cappuccinos, pour over, or drip coffee. You can try their cold brew coffee, nitro cold brew, or bulletproof coffee, and boba milk teas. They also have a wide assortment of delicious food. I would suggest you try the avocado toast, mimosas, wine, or beer. On the weekends, you can check out some great music like the Soto Six and food like Eliza the Shelf and others over the weekend, every Friday and Saturday, beginning at 6 p.m. You can check out everything they got going on Facebook and Instagram at Baba Coffee. To a new episode of the Creative Brew, giving you insights on your creative journey. Today, we're bringing back a returning guest. If you hadn't checked out his first episode, Leon, we talked about his comic book, Soul Stones, and then like I said, obviously the things that he's developing around that. I do love bringing back a lot of guests because I like seeing the almost the story and the journey as far as where they are now. And everyone's journey is different. Everyone sort of goes in weird different directions. But always interested in seeing where that journey ends up. So I'll let Leon sort of reintroduce himself and sort of share where he's at right now.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Quantal. Appreciate that. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Leon Dawes. I go by CL Leon Dawes. Last year, I introduced myself, my series, Soul Stones, Ecclesiastes Mistress of Souls, to a lot of people. We do have a presence at Comic Con and WonderCon. Um, but last year, we were working on book five. We just completed book four. And we did a book signing for it before our interview. So now we just completed book five, and book five is out. We have this book five cover done by Ray Anthony Height. He does a lot of drawing for Marvel Comics,
Oh,
and
nice.
we have a new artist. He's a very good artist. This is Jorge Castillo, and the artwork for these are awesome. They're available in aluminum and also paper covers, but they've been doing really well online. Our online presence will probably get a little bit more uh, tapered. When I say that, we're probably going to change it because we kind of wanted to uh, be more uniform to everything we're doing. So we got jackets, hats, shirts, as you can see here, which are also available. But we want to kind of make it a little bit more tapered so that people can know that we are just more than comic books. We do everything centered around this series. So shirts, hats, caps. Also, we got some leather jackets here. Here. We'll actually bring out. This is a leather jacket, and this is a brown leather jacket, a Soul Stone leather jacket.
Looks good.
Look at that, and it has a little logo embroidered. Oh no, got the brown ones, blue ones, black ones, and they're doing really well. So we just kind of want to let people know what we're about, where they can pick the books up at, the website, which I would think we're going to make that available at the end of the interview,
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're planning some really cool digital stuff for the series. I can't talk too much about it because my attorney will sock me one, but we're planning some pretty cool digital stuff for the series. That's kind of why I've been a little bit MIA with broadcasting a lot of it online. I'm still promoting the books, but I've been kind of not as aggressive as I usually am promoting because we're doing some really, really elaborate digital stuff. And I think I can maybe show. Let me see. I think I have a. Let me see. What do I have? I think I can maybe show a little bit without being too without giving too much of it away, but this would be one of our characters
Oh
in
wow.
that digital world. So we're doing, and he's actually in the book, but we are doing some pretty cool stuff with him. But other than that, everything else is pretty good. Going full steam ahead. Like I said prior, I don't know if a lot of you know, I moved recently, so I'm still in Santa Monica, but right now I'm near Montana Avenue, so I'm a lot closer to the water, which is good when you're doing art and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But the vibe up here is a little bit more artsy, artistic, and it's just better mentally and emotionally for me in this series. Um, so it's just getting things settled in, getting the books, out of storage. Some stuff's in storage, some stuff isn't. The jackets, things like that, and getting that stuff ready for conventions and making it readily available to people who I just run into who may be interested in a book or a jacket, and I just kind of want to have it readily available so they can be able to get it without me having to go to storage or go through a lot of craziness just to make it available to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's cool. So with, I mean, for people that's maybe getting reintroduced to you,
Mhm.
or maybe that, like I said, they'll catch this episode.
Right.
What can you tell a little bit, just I guess, about the premise of Soul Stones?
The premise of Soul Stones, Ecclesiastes Mistress of Souls. Well, it's inspired from, like I said before, my mom and I were victims of domestic violence. As a little boy, I used to watch her go through so much of that. I always liked to draw. I had a real fondness for the world of sci-fi, and watching a lot of those shows, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Batman, all that stuff. I always kind of had a fascination for that. And she's a very spiritual woman too. So with a combination of that and me just coming up with these ideas and putting them on paper, the main character in my series, Ecclesiastes, she went through a kind of a little bit of an involvement, a series of changes throughout the years. So by the time I got to college and lost here in Santa Monica, the Art Institute, I had a solid form of what she would look like. Then I started getting involved in a lot of acting and modeling and just doing that kind of stuff. I was running into industry professionals like Ray Anthony Height, Kevin Grievous, people like that, that kind of were referring me to the right people
Mhm.
and helping me get my vision solidified and putting it on paper and returning it into books and other things like gear, things like that. But that's where the character came from. And the character herself, Ecclesiastes, is an angel. She's a dual ranking angel. Uh, and the series, we're not clear on if she's a powers angel or a kind of like an archangel, but she's a cross between the two. And she comes to Earth. I know it sounds like it's the same story, or but this particular story is a lot different because she comes to Earth. She's been an angel for forever, but she's never really been on Earth as a human. So for the first time, she's coming as a human, and she's going to take on fleshly human form. And while she's in fleshly human form, the kicker is that she deals with all the things she had questions about that humans would do. That she didn't know what sex was, or what it feels like to be hungry or thirsty or tired, things like that. And those are the things she has to learn how to balance because at the same time, while she's here, she's battling a sorceress, a necromancer, and a witch. And they are very aggressive in trying to take her down. They come from the ancient Babylonian world, so they can take spirit form or physical form, but they use a lot of their dark magic and sorcery to try to take her out. Of course, Ecclesiastes has her celestial weaponry and the angelic language, which are some are in symbols called the soul stones, which are the same things as the spell stones. But they're the spell stones when they get into the wrong hands. So they're the soul stones when she has them, and the soul stones are actually responsible for helping to resurrect the Nephilim, which is what we don't want. But she is constantly battling with that, and constantly battling with her feelings too, because she's learning what it's like to be a human, and a lot of things she used to kind of question us about, now she sees what it's about, and it's not as easy as she used to think it would be,
Mhm.
how to kind of, so these are challenges that she has to go through too at the same time. So we're entering book 6, which will probably be a lot longer and a lot deeper because we're going to do a lot more flashbacks of each one of the characters, talk more about their origin, why they became to be who they are. As Euphrates is one of the main characters. He's an evil warlock, warlord, and he comes from the ancient world, but he was cursed by a Babylonian witch, which some people don't know about, and we're going to get more into detail about that in book 6. a lot more than ethylene. It's going to be a lot more raw. So it's not for the faint of eyes. I'll put it that way. But it will be a very interesting story. So if you like really interesting, I mean, if you got like Harry Potter stuff that you're into, or Clash of the Titans, and Percy Jackson, it's along those lines, but it's a lot more graphic. We're gonna be real and getting more into the angelic alphabet, a lot of magic and stuff like that.
Oh wow, interesting. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good. That's good. So
Yeah.
I would assume, and then like I said, I know you can only elaborate so much, but I would assume that you're trying to um, build this into a sort of a full fledged media
Yeah. Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
Now is this now with I know you've been on other projects. Do you? I would assume you're wanting the Soul Stones to be the. I would assume that it's going to be the flagship title, or is there any supporting characters you plan on like, hey, we're going to do like a sort of like an offshoot story, or maybe
Yes.
create more
Yes.
content around it? Okay.
Yes, I do. I actually started last fall advertising. There's a couple of characters, books based off of my own personal experiences. Sorry, but there's about two or three that I do want to do that I've already started production on. I'll probably introduce them early part of next year, or the spring, which is when the WonderCon will be around, or the Comic Con in the summer. So they'll probably make their debut then. But I don't want to talk about them too much. But they're looking really good. I was talking to the artist the other day about it. They're pretty raw too, but they deal a lot with magic and sorcery and things of that nature too. So but the one of them in particular, the Apollo Room, Welcome to the Apollo Room, is one that's based off of some real experiences, but I just kind of put my own touch in it as far as the supernatural world,
Oh
because
wow.
that's what I do. But that's going to be a very interesting one, because that's just that you got a lot of people out there who live this stuff. It's not a story.
Yeah.
It's not, they actually do it. They do actually do the magic and all that jazz. So, but other serials we're working on right now, we're just doing working on copyrights, and getting that stuff solidified, and then we'll probably just introduce them and at least have promos for them as short stories before we do like actual books of them, so people can know who they are. But a character or two from this series probably will go off into those, and you'll be able to recognize who they are, most
Okay.
likely. Hmm.
Now, have you always been one of those people to where sometimes there's certain things that just follow you through the course of your life. Um, it could be in scenarios, or it could just be people, or
Weirdos.
yeah, just like I didn't
Just
know
kidding.
if you've always been one of those where like you've been interested in the supernatural, or you find yourself sort of peeking into maybe under the veil a little bit and seeing what's really going on. I didn't know if you've always had that curiosity in you.
I have. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. I was raised very spiritual, no, in church, and we left non-denomination, before I hit my I'm gonna say mid-teens. We left, but as a little boy growing up in parts of my life in Florida and New York, and having that, being a part in that world of just supernatural, aside from church stuff, but just having friends in school that kind of contributed to that. Like I said, that I have some of them live this stuff, and that's where I draw some of my inspiration from. And I had some experiences too when I used to live in Russia, so that was a student exchange program that I used to do years ago. And that was a really very interesting. That was fun. It wasn't what people were telling me it was going to be. It was way more fun. But that there were some experiences that you learn that different cultures have their own sense, or they have their own stories of things that have happened that contribute to their culture, but they're real life events in the supernatural. So I take a combination from all that stuff, and I just kind of incorporate it and insert it into my series, because I think it's interesting stuff people would like to know about and learn. I want them to enjoy it while they're learning, not inadvertently learning, but enjoying it at the same time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Um, wow. So, and now I know I've looked at some of your social media, and I guess you were recently on a movie. I
Oh
didn't know if you would
yes. So
talk about that a little
it's
bit.
so funny. I'm guilty. Yeah, I did a film some years. Yeah, a little while ago, and I was always asking the producer, like, when is this gonna come out? When it's gonna come out? And they didn't really know. So it finally came out like right before Halloween. And it was really successful. It was really good. Right now people have been asking when is it gonna be available for streaming or on social media. So I'll probably do an announcement when they get the information to me, but it's called Angel with the Gun. It's starring Marlene McCohen and some other really cool people, Ron Quigley, Alexa Nimi, and some really awesome people who were really um, a part of the production of it. And the thing about it is that I'm always juggling acting with doing this. This takes 100% of your time, and so does acting. So somewhere in between, you got to meet where there's a positive balance, where your agents and your manager get it, and they do. But at the same time, I have to be available to do everything. So I am kind of looking into maybe possibly hiring someone to just do a lot of the conventions for me, uh, or maybe just kind of do a lot of the footwork, because acting is a lot of footwork too. And if I get called on something, audition for something, like I went out for SWAT not too long ago, and I remember going out for that, but I had to. Get some books out. My attorney was wanting to do they had to meet and talk about the next convention, get some people he met he wanted me to talk to. So I'm like, oh man. So I'm like, oh, am I gonna do this? So yeah, it can kind of be a bit of a challenge trying to time management, which isn't the easiest all the time. But us creative folks, our ADD works in our favor sometimes.
Yeah.
We can learn how to do that, with a lot of praying, but it works in our favor sometimes. So yeah, yeah.
So what's been and obviously I know you, but for the people that don't know you, I know you're a fitness junkie.
I am.
Is that for you? Is that like one of the main channels for you to be able to sort of even out the stress and sort of balance yourself out?
Yes. Yes. 100%. Yes. I would say I live at the gym practically, but it's so bad. I even bought weights and a bench press for my place. So I actually just finished working out before I did this. Because I knew I didn't know how time to make it to the gym and come back and get ready. So like I just work out at home and maybe still even go to the gym after this. But I think it's a good addiction to have. But yeah, it's a very good stress reliever. It keeps you sane, at least for me. It keeps me grounded, helps to keep me grounded. And there's nothing better than just being in good health. You want to make sure you stay in good health doing this type of work, anything in entertainment, because it requires so much of your physical being as well as your mental. And they both kind of walk hand in hand. And working out for me is gold. That's a gift to be able to do that. So I'm really thankful for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do find I've sort of
Yeah.
noticed a lot of creators, writers,
Yeah.
artists, musicians, a lot of people sort of
Yeah.
passing away, and a lot of it's from,
Yeah.
could be from stress, use, you know,
Yeah.
all kinds of things. But
Yeah. Yeah, you really have to take time out for yourself and not let people be so demanding to you. I mean, this stuff is great and fun to do, but at the end of the day, it's you gotta come to terms with. It's you gotta kind of, come to that realization of, hey, am I doing this for me or or am I just letting people kind of run me? And I think that's what stresses people out. They just kind of get into this mode of wanting to please people all the time. And you can't be a people pleaser per se. I guess sometimes you have to be to a degree, but I think you kind of have to draw the line somewhere. And that, especially when it comes to your health.
yeah, yep. I know there's a lot
Yeah.
of times where I'll be in the gym and I'll get a text in the morning, like, hey, can
Right.
you, like I need something, or I need some kind of design, or
Right.
maybe I,
Right.
you know, check an email or something like that. I was like, all right, I'll
Right.
do it after I get
Exactly.
done, after I get out of the gym. I'll do that then. It's like, don't, yeah,
Right.
I'll look at the
Right.
text, but like I said, don't, yeah,
Yeah,
don't
that's you time.
my
That's you
gym time.
time. Right. That's
Yeah.
you time. Right. Exactly.
So
Yes.
that is, people ask me all the time, they're like, how are you able to do like all this stuff? Like,
Man, yeah, yeah.
coach of the pod. I was like, dude, I have to be working out. Like I have to like get
Right.
all
Yeah.
the energy I need, because it's like, dude, I would burn
Yes.
out.
Yes.
I would
Yes.
burn out real
Yes.
quick.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you real quick. So I learned that, and you got to take that time out for yourself. Your body will thank you for it in the long run, and so will your mind. So yeah.
Yeah.
Kudos, bro. Kudos.
So right now, I mean, I guess it's just, for you, maybe in just life in general. Yeah, and I know you made the move, and you're in a new environment now. And I actually had a talk with it was with someone else a while back, and we talked about environment, and
Right.
and sometimes like you have to move away from something that doesn't fit you,
Right.
perhaps spiritually or energetically.
Right.
When did you feel like was the right time? I mean, I didn't know if no, I don't know if there's ever like a right time, but when did you feel like, hey, I need to go into a new
Bounce. I had a crazy landlady. I'm just gonna come out and say my landlady was nuts. And for years, because I rented from her too, and I just didn't like the way she did business or was doing business with my mom or her other tenants. And she was nuts. And I said, it's just she was doing some really shady stuff, her and her sons or whatever. And I couldn't work because they were just too shady and unprofessional. And I just said, you know what, for a while I've been trying to get over here in this area. And I said, I'm just gonna go ahead. I have enough now to kind of just it's time to just move and just get in a better area where I can have peace of mind. So when I'm writing or doing my art or doing my meetings, I won't have to worry about that element. That was such a negative element that I don't um want to ever revisit. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been trying to spend the past almost 2.5 months trying to forget about that them. And I know that sounds pretty bad, but it's toxic environment. It was a toxic environment, and it wasn't good for me or what I'm trying to be as a creator at all.
Yeah, that can be a tough situation. I do believe, we can especially with our environment,
Yeah.
we always fall back to our environment. We could have the best attitude
Yes.
when we get out there, and everything's
Yes.
doing great, doing
Right.
you get back home and you're back in that environment. You
Yeah. You
you
forget
fall
about
right
all the good
to it.
stuff that happened. It's like, oh
Yeah.
man, I'm back in this nonsense again. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad I did it. It was rough. I don't advise anyone to move during a heat wave. It was during the heat wave and in late August, and I was like, oh man, I had to do it though. And I was like, oh, this was grueling. That was horror. But horror, whatever. Yeah, it was horror, but I don't want to do that again. But I'm glad I did it. And it paid off. It really pays off. It really does. So yeah, hard
Yeah.
work pays off. Yeah.
So I mean right now, I mean what other, what things you got going on? So you're in a new area now.
Mhm.
Do you I mean I didn't know if you have anything, or I didn't know if you were trying to focus more on acting and modeling, or you're trying to just figure out ways like how do I put everything together and make it work.
Trying to mesh everything and make it work. I mean, for the most part, it does work. Because my first gig when I first moved to LA like 20 years ago, my first gig in Santa Monica, I moved to Santa Monica. My first gig, I was sent to an interview from the Art Institute, and my portfolio, I designed these characters. I was going to go work for a company called Black Ops Entertainment at the time, and I had my portfolio. But prior, I took some headshots, so I always carried a headshot in just for the heck of it. And I remember going in, um, in the line producer was like, you have some really good work. We'll be in touch with you if we want you to design some chart. And then as I was, getting ready to leave and close my portfolio, my headshot fell out. And she was like, can I see that? I'm like, yeah, you can keep it. And they called me, and I thought it's because I was, I mean, they're like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just do some stuff for Blackout, for the games and stuff. And they're like, yeah. They called like a week later, like, yeah, we love your work, but we were wondering, could you like model for our character? And I'm like, and at that point, at first I was going to say no because I was like, I didn't come here for. I wanted to, I mean, 'cause now that's super exciting. But I was like, yeah, I'll do it because the money was really good, and I did it. And that was my first real acting, my like modeling gig, entertainment. And I met Oscar De La Hoya. It was for his game Knockout Kings 2, and he was trying to show me how to pose as a boxer. And they put me in boxing trunks with my shirt off, and I had to. So it was that was my real that was my first. He was my first celebrity I met, worked with. Put it that way, being here in Los Angeles. But ever since then, I've always been trying to find that balance, and it's always been a challenge because it's never been because both are so demanding. and it can take a toll on you physically if you let it. If you, it'll drive you nuts because you're always trying to appease one end and the other need, appease the other end. So they both require travel. They both require time. They both require money. So I'm always trying to walk them hand in hand,
Hmm.
and at the time see what's just the better option. What's the better option at the time, and maybe this month or the next couple of months the art thing is a better option than the acting because nothing's really happening or popping, and then maybe after that I may start getting auditions for acting or modeling some projects, and I have to kind of weigh which is more immediate, put it that way, that I need to kind of cater to make it happen. That's why I kind of like at this point I need to kind of maybe look into getting like an assistant or having someone. My managers and agents are good, but I need more on a personal note for this kind of stuff. The comics and art and stuff, maybe have someone there to kind of mail out the books or the jackets to people
Yeah.
to because that takes time. Mailing off stuff to people is not easy. You have to always uh, you know, make time out to go to the post office. You have to sit there and stand there, and you don't know how long that's going to take, and then that could take forever. Because I've been in situations where it's it's just grueling standing there, and then people are getting upset or yelling at the clerk or whatever, and it's like, oh man. So yeah, but I need to kind of hire someone at some point to take over it and do that, and just kind of keep me posted with what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Well, I know what they're not a sponsor for the show or anything, but I have started using Pirate Ship, and
Okay.
and
Oh,
it,
interesting.
it and like I said, I'm able to weigh stuff and get certain
Oh,
certain
okay.
prices on postage right from my
Okay.
computer and print off
I
labels and
see.
everything. And
Huh.
I know that's helped me out as far as like the trap because I sometimes if I'm getting things printed, I've got to go to my
Right.
shipper and drop it
Right.
off, get it shipped, come
Right.
back. Now, if I'm working on a project, it's like I'm doing too much back and
Yeah. Just driving there alone because I don't
yeah,
exactly live. I mean, I'm close to the post office, but I don't want to walk
yeah.
that. So I have to drive it, and that can be a bit. So I'll definitely check that. Thanks for that. I appreciate it because I'm just looking at alternatives right now because it is getting a little bit busier for me on both ends,
Hmm.
and I need to make sure that I'm available for both of them and not just one, but for both of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it can be tough. I mean, I guess
yeah.
I started to. I mean, like I said, I know personally for me, I've been, I'm doing a little coaching now
Right.
with the
Right.
junior college and speaking at different art conferences and still doing my client work and everything. And
Right.
I was like, especially in your case, it's like it's good. Like it's one of those good problems to have. It's not like,
Yeah.
man, it's like I don't know where to go with this. It's like, hey, I need some help.
Help.
So I have to
Right.
figure
Yeah.
that.
Right.
So yeah, I've been starting to tell myself more like, you know what, I know I do sometimes stress about it or
Right.
talk about it, but like this is a good problem to have
Right.
when you when you
Out of
need,
all the problems, that would be the one I would choose. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Right. 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 So yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm grateful, put it that way. I'm grateful. And I'm not, I try not to complain. When I try myself trying to complain or fall into that, I just pull myself right back. There's a lot of other things that uh I could be doing that are negative, and I'm glad I haven't gotten to that mindset. This kind of helps, like I said, everything kind of helps keeps me grounded, and being grateful. We're in a crazy world right now. Everything going on with these elections, and people's true colors are coming out, and it's just it makes you not want to leave the house sometimes, But I'm being harassed. But that's just the world we live in. You got to find, like I say, find that balance.
Yeah, yeah. I try not to. I'm always aware of the political scene, but I don't get into it too much. And
Yeah, yeah,
and personally for me, it's one of those where like, hey, if I just want you to be a good person aside from your whatever political affiliation.
right, exactly.
I
That's all
don't
that
I
matters.
don't want you to change up because of an election. I don't
Right.
like I don't want you just
Your
automatically put
character
yourself
should matter. It shouldn't be about what, but your character should matter. And that's
yeah,
like I said, that's what's most important at the end of the day. We can have differences, but make sure your character is who you are. You shouldn't have to get into a fist fight with anybody or stop befriending someone just because they don't agree necessarily with your point of view. That's what makes us human. That's
yeah,
what makes us individuals.
yeah,
Not this isn't a dictatorship or control. It's just more about you know, elevated opinions, different opinions, and that's okay. That's okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah,
yes,
it's wild world right now. Uh
wild, a little
yeah.
too
So
wild.
I do tell my one of my wrestling classes, I do tell them, I was like, look, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and I was like,
Right.
you have to learn how to control your own like inner world, like
Yes.
the things you got going on. You can control that. You can't
Yes.
control everything else that's going on around you. You just have to
Right.
find
Right.
ways of sort of flowing and bending to
Yeah.
what's going on, because I mean it's
Exactly.
easy to react to everything,
It is. Yeah.
um
People can say some offensive things sometimes. That's where your level of maturity is supposed to kick in. But I guess everybody doesn't just don't have that level of maturity, so you kind of got to be mature for them and walk away if you can, But yeah. Mm.
so you said the main character is Ecclesiastics. Is it?
Ecclesiastes, yeah, she's the
Yeah.
main character.
Yeah, what would she do in this situation right now, as far as like this the climate of everything that's going on in the world?
That's a very good question. What would she do? Well, she's an angel, and angels are there to protect, love, and you know, and help bring peace. I mean, I believe that, that's kind of like a trick question too, because I'm like, what would she do in her angelic form versus her human form? She's supposed to do in her human form what she would in her angelic, but she's dealing with all these first time, human feelings.
Yeah.
um, Honestly, she probably would react a lot different than in her angelic form. She probably would help bring peace and try to resolve problems, because that's part of why she's here. Every time she battles evil or vanquishes evil somewhere, you have a withered tree that kind of sprouts and gets healthy, or you have a stream of water that's toxic all of a sudden becomes fresh and fish are in it. Or if there's someone sick in the world, someone gets healed, like their body, so, as an angel, she would help bring peace, but in her earthly form, she probably would uh have a hard time trying to battle those feelings of what she would do angelically and humanly, because she, like I said, she's not used to these human feelings. I mean, as a human, she knows she's not supposed to clobber somebody or sock them, but it might be easier to just do that. Even though she knows there are, consequences for that, but she's learning. She's learning while she's down here too. And she's learning the real deal of how humans, or why humans do the things they do.
Mhm.
It's not so easy to sit back and not have to deal with the stuff humans deal with and make opinions about it and judge them for it. But when you're actually a human and you have to deal with these actual issues, it's a lot more different. You take a different point of view because you're a part of that now. You have that heart and you have those feelings that you never had before. And you're not really told how you've seen how it's supposed to be done, but you're like, wow, this is tough. And how do I deal with this? I know my angel self would do it differently, but I got to remember. She has to constantly keep remembering who she is, and that's the challenge too for her is to be that example. You know, Help man understand that life is full of choices, and the choices we make sometimes they can have dire consequences. So we have to be very careful what we say and what we do, how we react to people, and just kind of watch our mouth.
Yeah. Why why
Yeah.
do why do you feel, and that actually brings up a good point. Why do you feel like people, that you definitely have people that's wise beyond their years, and they
Right.
like they know
Right.
the game. They know, sometimes, the best thing to say is to not say anything.
You're
Uh
right.
why do you think it's so for many people, why do you feel like it's so quick for people just to react to all kinds of things? Maybe things that's happening in their own life, or maybe things they see on social media, or in media, and they're just so quick to react. Why do you, from your perspective, why do you feel like, why that is?
I believe people kind of just let their feelings get the best of them sometime. Being in the spur of the moment. I'm a true believer, and you have to guard your heart. And I'm not saying you have to be 24 hours a day keeping tabs on but you do have to be aware of your environment and being aware of who you're talking to and who you're dealing with. And I believe sometimes people kind of just slip up, just because a person never has exploded on you. and they're a nice person doesn't mean that they won't, you know, or just because a person's a bad person and they're known to kind of be flipping the mouth doesn't necessarily mean that at that point in time they will be. So be aware, but also be kind of guarded. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
don't be paranoid, but be aware, because there's a first time for everything, even when dealing with people and circumstances for that matter. So we have to be like, that's when your level of maturity, and for some of us, experience is supposed to kick in.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's actually a really good insight. Yeah,
yeah.
I just find myself, obviously, I can be in my, especially for people in the creative arts or any kind
Right,
of,
right.
we sometimes we can just be in our own little world and our
World, yeah.
world. But I do keep, stay very aware as far as like what things are, going on or just things that's transpiring. And
Right,
sometimes it's one of those where like people, from time to time, people ask me, "Hey, why don't you talk about politics or something?" Only I was like, "This is I don't do it. That's not
yeah.
my lane.
It's
I
just
choose not to."
too, yeah, and I don't blame
And
you. I
yeah,
don't blame you.
it's in it, and you know what? It's easy to be like, you know what? I'm gonna make this a political website, political
Right,
podcast. I'm sorry, and
right,
get all kinds of numbers and blow it up.
right,
I was like, no, that's not what I'm trying to do with this show.
right, right,
And my political affiliations should be to the side. If I'm a good person, I don't care who you are. If you're a good human, I
right,
I can respect your opinions and beliefs.
right.
Um, I don't have to agree with them, but I can at least understand where you're trying to come from with.
Exactly. And I think that's what people need to remember. You don't have to necessarily agree with another person's views or beliefs, but you do have to respect them, just like you expect them to respect your views and beliefs. And that's what, like I said, a person, that's where their level of maturity is supposed to kick in, but for some people it just doesn't.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So, as far as what things, and like I said, I know with you, you've already got, you always got some just various things and projects going on. With the even with the jackets, I mean, do you plan on? I didn't know if you planned on like doing some kind of uh
I,
like show
I
like some
do.
kind
I do. I have this blue one here. This is probably our flagship color.
okay,
This is the blue one, like the brown one I showed you. And what? I did a video with these. Uh, we're going to do some embossed ones, because I know people they've been really liking the jackets, and some people want one, but they don't want necessarily the embroidery, but they want the logo. So we have an embossed version of that coming, and then our lining is probably going to feature a cover of each one of the books that people can pick from
mhm,
and put that in as the lining. So we're working on that right now. So that'll probably be for 2025. And I mean, I do have more models coming up that I've asked, excuse me, to do maybe feature the jackets, maybe in videos or just in some kind of like scenario just to help advertise them. So yeah, definitely, most definitely. Because aside from the jackets, we have like I said, we got some really cool digital stuff coming up. We have people been asking me a lot about the action figure, um,
nice.
and we know this is our prototype, one of them, and people have been asking a lot about that. So, we're working on both of those. Action figures are a lot harder actually because you have trademarks and companies, they only do an X amount. As the jackets, you can have, you can kind of do those on demand, but at least now you can. But action figures are a little bit more harder because companies want you to do at least 1,000 or 2,000 before they do them, for a lower fee, or is it, that has to balance out. So we're working with that, my attorney and I, over at Aaron Fox. We're working with that and seeing where we can kind of meet them halfway with it and maybe get some action figures done for next year too. So we'll see. I'll keep you posted with that, but people have been asking a lot about that.
Oh, good deal. Good deal.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
right now, I mean, I know you're in a different stage in your life right now, but what are some creative tips for our audience?
Creative tips, you know, keep a very subtle mind. Eat right, because that does affect your creativity. You tend to produce your best work when you're well rested, and when you kind of have a pretty good diet going, and you can think properly. You can let the creative juices just flow. So it's kind of it. keep yourself away from negative people or negative environments that affect your energy. Um, that has a big part of it too. um, and just be open to people's ideas and opinions. I believe that, you know, there isn't really just one opinion. Be respectful of people's ideas and opinions, because even if I don't get it, or they don't get you, you can still be cordial at the end of the day. And that's what it's all about. I can disagree with you. We can disagree with each other, but let's just still just be, let's establish that we can be cordial at the end of the day. Because we can disagree and still go out to lunch, or still go play ball, or still go work out together. There's this attitude now that there's just one opinion, and even though it's not the right one, that's just it. And if you don't like it, we can't be friends. That's just not. That's, like I said, your level of maturity is very low, and you need to bring it up to par. So let's try to keep that in mind. But those are the only tips I can get. I really want to get deep. You can get some incense burning and some coffee or tea, or maybe a little bit of wine, and start writing or start drawing, or some nice music, really start doing some stuff. But no, I don't want, I don't want to give anybody any idea, but I'm just saying, for me personally, sometimes I do that, and some awesome stuff comes out of me. So, but everybody to each his own. But your basics would be just stay away from negativity, and make time for yourself.
All right, nice. I like those. I like those. And then,
Yeah.
but I mean, even before we sign off, what are some words of wisdom? Just some things that you can share that's hit you right now.
You know what? It's okay to change your environment, even if you've been there for a long time. Uh, Maybe that's what people need sometimes, is to change. And if you can't change your environment, you may can't change where you dwell necessarily immediately, but you can always go somewhere. You can always go somewhere. You can always get a room somewhere, or go somewhere that's feasible, or somewhere that you can be in a different mindset. So I always kind of encourage people to do that, because what I was telling you earlier, when I used to live in Russia, I will say that when I came back to the United States, it changed my opinion about the United States, and just people. I learned uh, how grateful and thankful we should be here, because there's a lot of stuff here that we take for granted, and just as a creative person alone, being able to really just express ourselves a lot freer than in a lot of nations is a blessing. So even if you can't move to another house or an apartment, that doesn't mean you can't go somewhere. Try to go somewhere. Go to, like I said, get a room somewhere, or maybe go, to the city next over. Get a bus or take a train, or take an Uber. You can always go somewhere. So try to keep that in mind.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, take the yeah, make the effort to go travel. Get
Yes,
outside
travel.
of
I
your
always encourage
normal,
that.
yeah,
Yes.
normal parameters and sort of get out there. I
Yeah.
I know. I think last year I had the opportunity to go to Australia and
Oh, nice.
check
Very
out
nice.
Fiji, and yeah, definitely some things that we take for granted over here.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but it's always cool to sort of see other cultures and
Yes.
people, just people in general. I know
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm like a stalker or anything. I know, but
Right.
I do love to like people watch. Like I love seeing other
Right.
people,
I hear you. I hear
just
you.
walk around. You got some people sort of conversating, a lot of
Yeah.
people with their head down.
Yes. Yes.
So it's always weird to sort of see, all these people. And I've probably only seen, I mean, there's 8+ billion people on this planet. And I've only seen maybe not even half of a percent of
Yeah.
the
Like maybe a
population.
hundred.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just one of those where like,
Yeah.
man, it's a big planet, and
It
it's a
is.
lot of experiences, a lot of people,
Yes.
and
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I would enjoy doing, like being able to just share stories and hear others'
Yeah.
experiences and sort of see life for what it is. I think that helps
It
me
is.
out as a creator, being able to mold all those experiences into my own.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, I encourage that. Traveling is important because it can mold you, I think, into a well-rounded adult, and that's one of the things I'm very grateful for. I'm glad my mom sponsored me, gave me the opportunity to do it, and I carry that experience with me everywhere I go. So I do definitely encourage that, and I also encourage people to check out the series. at www.ecclesiastesmos.com for books, jackets. We're going to be remodeling the website pretty soon. Anyway, we're going to be taking it down and just like I said, tapering it more and just catering it towards everything, and instead of just the comic books, and make it more uniform. But we're definitely going to be working on that, and just a series of things going on with other projects as far as comics and stuff that we're developing right now. So just stay tuned for that. I definitely want to give a shout out to Florida de Maria Shawa, one of the actresses that's in the series as a character, and Sebastian Large. He's another actor in the series. They're playing characters in these series, and just Malcolm McNeil and Aaron Fox. He's my attorney, and my agent my manager Sheila Leggett, and my agent at Media Artist Group, Raphael Burko, and just the Horror News Network, and JHU Comics in New York. It's Nick Purpura and JHU Comics, and also just Alternate Reality Comics in Las Vegas, and definitely Stronghold Comics in Oceanside, and just Comics Etc. in Rochester, New York, for just supporting the series and really giving us a chance and a platform to really continue and keeping us in their shops. We couldn't do what we did without them. And Heidi Ho Comics, I don't know where they are right now. I'm not sure if they're going to be coming back. I believe they are. They're just kind of like on this limbo. So I don't know where they are now, but just all those awesome people. If I may I say that stuff?
Oh yeah,
Can I
yeah.
give those shout out? I just
Yeah,
want to
no,
make sure I
yeah,
give
yeah,
my
yeah,
shout
yeah.
outs.
Give all the shout outs you want. No, it's
Yeah, and and of
yeah,
course my mom, but I'm always giving my mom a shout out. But yeah, just these are all people that really kind of help keep it going, and just I'm always gaining traction with more people, especially at conventions and things like that, Comic Con and WonderCon. So you, Juantal, thank you for having me and having us on your show. We appreciate it so much. Yes. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Always, like I said, always glad to bring you back on and sort of hear where you got where you're at right now and what what you're doing and
Yes.
yeah, I know, like I said, everyone's especially with life, everyone's going off different directions and different
Yeah.
quests
Yeah.
sooner or later, we may, like I said, we cross up and see how you're doing and
Yes.
so that's life. That's the thing about it. That's what I enjoy about it is knowing that I can hear, I can see the progression of people's stories and maybe in 5 years from now when Soul Stones is you know on in a movie or a Netflix or something like
Yeah, that would be awesome.
that.
Yeah,
I'm
that'd be
like, oh,
awesome.
like, hey, I interviewed this guy. Like, I
Yeah.
knew the
Yeah.
creator of this. So, uh,
Yeah. Humble beginnings. Humble beginnings. Yeah. Humble beginnings. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yes.
other than that, hey, this has been a great episode. Different ways of supporting the show. You can support this episode with Leon at www.buymeacoffee.com/the creative brew. And then for the price of a cup of coffee, you can support this episode as well as future episodes. So everything helps. I'm trying to build up the membership site, trying to add in some more content. So if you get a chance, www.buymeacoffee.com/the creative brew, and you can help support the show. Also, too, we do offer advertising packages for any brands, companies, anyone that's wanting to help promote their brand. We are offering packages going through the end of the year, going into next year. But if anyone's interested in that, any listeners or anybody, send me a DM on the Instagram channel at thecreativebrew.tv, and then we'll chat. But other than that, this has been an awesome episode. Please get a chance, check out
Yeah.
Leon, check out Soul Stones, check out the whole comic book series going on into book 6 right now,
Yes.
and support your indie creators. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
Uh,
Please.
so other than
Please.
that, hey, this has been a new episode. Be creative, stay inspired.
Happy holidays.
All I know is hard work, really nothing else. I resort to smoking weed, yo, cause nothing helps. Called to hold me up, told them loot to sample up. We gotta come together now, cause I had enough. The time is now, there'll never be another one. It's a sack of laps.